Ladies and gentlemen, it is Thursday, May 9th. We have an interview with Tron Black, one of the founder. Well, I'm actually going to say that right. I don't know if it's actually a founder, but one of the leaders of Medici Ventures, as well as Ravencoin and a few of the other projects that Medici Ventures is working on. We have them on today at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. So it's approximately 8, 9, 10, 11, 3 hours from now. But this morning, because we didn't have a lot of time due to that interview coming up, I figured what we would do is basically just jump online, go over a few thoughts with you guys, answer any of your questions you might be having. Again, there's always so much that goes on, and there's so many people that do news channels, about the Binance hack or the Tether exchanges. I don't really do too much of the news because there's already so many people that do it. Although I did want to weigh in on a few things, and I think as time goes on, I'm going to start doing the recorded rants and the vlogs again. And I've mentioned that a few times, but the point of this is, there's something that bothered me about the whole Tether fiasco. Everyone gets up in arms about, oh, Tether's not backed by anything, and da-da-da-da-da, this is a bad thing because Tether needs to be backed for it to be the proper type of liquid asset that you'd want Tether to be. But the crux of the whole dilemma that I've found is the realization that, look, the US dollar isn't backed by anything. So in the meantime, while everyone's kind of shuffling around giving Tether and the middle finger, you have to remember that it's done a massive amount of good. When you have all these banks who have been closing the on and off ramps for fiat exchanges, even though you may not like Tether or Bitfinex because of some of the mysterious hidden things they've been doing, well, what about the fucking Federal Reserve, who has never opened their books, who has always talked shit and has nothing backing the US dollar whatsoever? I think everyone's so quick to point the finger at a company or a token like Tether for being a stable coin, when really we should be pointing the finger and mocking the US dollar. It is inherently worse than Tether as far as I can tell, because the only thing that backs it up is guns and blood. And I don't like either of those things, and that's one of the worst parts of government that are around. So I did want to weigh in on that particular regard, and also with CZ smashing in his retarded voice about the ability to roll back the Bitcoin blockchain. The fact that he even suggested that shows a level of arrogance and almost misunderstanding in the space that leads me to believe that it's not that long from now that you're going to see companies much bigger than Binance roll in and basically shove that little fly off their shoulder, because they are a tiny company in comparison in the global world markets. And if you see any of the big boys, and I mean any of them, step up to plate, these people have hundreds of billions of dollars in assets under management, often which are significantly larger than the entire fucking crypto space as it is today. So I do suspect we're going to see competition for companies like Binance. They've made some foolish statements, comments, as well as done some pretty onerous things. The fact that you don't have trailing stop losses or trailing profit take profits, that's kind of a huge degradation on the people that should be having all the tools as traders given to them. And the fact that Binance really hasn't stepped up their game in that space is kind of like it's spitting in our faces. They charge us exorbitant amount for their fees, and now that they've been, well, luckily they got hacked. No individual was hacked. I will actually give them thumbs up for their general security in terms of blockchain security, I guess. But in terms of general community management, I think that you're going to see big boys step into the realm that are going to give Binance a run for their money, especially after just such ridiculous statements like, oh yeah, we could monetarily incentivize the miners to roll back the Bitcoin blockchain. That's just like, are you fucking retarded? Like, somebody put a tape on his mouth, get him out of the CEO role. It's like when Elon Musk smoked weed on Joe Rogan. It's like, wow, we should be kicking him off the board of the chairman or whatever. Anyways, it's just some dumb shit. When you say things like that, you really start to lose credibility for your company, and because of that, it took a huge dent out on what I believe Binance will do in the future. And also, very specifically, I think it's reflected in their token price today, dropping down from $26 down to 20. I do suspect we will probably see a big retracement now in the Binance token. It's hit this two multiple highs. The last time was in 2018 for $26. So we've hit the previous all-time highs and then started to turn downwards from there. Now with all this news, it's going to say, well, do we come down, retest the the moving averages here for Binance. And even though I've been a fan of the Binance token the last 2 weeks, these sentiments coming from CZ are the exact opposite of what we would hope to see, and are actually it's a huge deterrent on me. I don't want to have money invested in people that think you can just roll back the Bitcoin blockchain by incentivizing the miners to do so. That's a hey, you kind of moment. You should be paying attention. You shouldn't even say things like that. Yes, we actually have all known that that's a problem. That's a problem in any model, corruption comes from the space where you can incentivize people to do things that are not in line with the current model and system. That's actually where all corruption comes from. That's why you have people that are now lobbyists. They lobby for behavior to monetarily incentivize those to do things like roll back law. Oh my God, CZ, you just sound like a fucking moron when you say stuff like that. So as credible as they have become in the blockchain space, in an instant, they wiped that slate clean. In an instant. So good job, Binance. You have now wiped any credibility off the table in a heartbeat. So I'm not a big fan of the Binance chain anymore because of that. That one simple statement showed enough of a crack in the cement for me that I think you're going to see other big players that really recognize the potential of the space. And that's a good thing unto itself. The realization that you're going to have companies enter in and actually now become competition for Binance. So let's roll in here, take a quick look at CoinGecko.com. I'm just going to refresh this here to make sure I have current data. Bitcoin currently, at least in aggregated data, we're seeing at around $6,000. Ethereum at $1.69. We'll skip XRP and Bcash for now. EOS, nice. So here you see, everything's doing quite well still. The fact that we're up this high in general is almost a little bit of a weary feeling, and I think it's one of the feelings that we're looking for in general is when you start to feel kind of emotionally sick or emotionally exuberant. Those are generally the moments when we're getting near a high, and Bitcoin has definitely brought us into that space. So I actually want to look at Bitcoin here a little more specifically because I've always been a big fan of the volume profile, or at least since I've started using it. It's been a massive help for really trying to dial in the regions of support and resistance. So currently, let's scroll back here so we have enough data to really punch in that line. So at the 6,200 mark is where the massive amount of resistance on the your volume profile starts, and it goes all the way up to around 6,500. Oh, I'm getting an internet is pretty choppy from you guys. Oh no, really? And I have a red stream. Damn it. I can't even do live streams. Sound is back. No sound. Really? Oh man. Well, goddamn. Okay, well, hopefully we're still live. I'm not entirely sure. It's so crazy. You have internet out here. You think it's reliable. You think everything's going to be good. I hope I'm back on now. You guys just said no sound. We'll go from there. Secondary internet installed, and it's supposed to be pumping. Like, look at this, 14 megabits a second down. And up is around 3 to 4, which should be enough to stream quite smoothly. So the fact that we're having troubles is just very discerning, and there's no way for me to apparently solve it. Ugh, gross. That's gross. Yep, you're back. Okay, well, I'll try it out for another minute. Jesus. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. It's so crazy. So here, hopefully everything going smoothly. We'll keep running through this show with that. But as you can see, our first line here, we've actually just punctured up against on the volume profile is around 60.40. That could bring us all the way up to 61.90. From there, from 61.90, we go to 63.40, and then the final pushes was 65.35. Now, I had postulated off. I had postulated that the potential of Bitcoin going to this area where we were at around 51.50 when I had mentioned it, that I had a dream that we went to 6,500 just based off the essential exuberance of the entire crypto market. We're a fairly immature market, and I'm including myself in that, right? Here you have the first time a bunch of retail investors and as well as I guess institutional investors that are coming into a market thinking, yeah, this thing's just going to explode. And that's one of the reasons why I'm actually quite weary about it at these particular heights. Now, like I said, I do suspect we're going to have this pump here. This will be probably the final of wave 5, this little red line here, up to around 6,500 before coming back down. Now, if we continue, there's actually room for us to break out even up to around the 60 or the $7,200 area. So I wouldn't necessarily, even if we broke this high, it doesn't actually invalidate the movement of a B wave. It's just an over exuberant B wave, which at this point I'm starting to expect just irrational behavior from everyone in this space in general. Hey, I'm irrational, so everyone else probably is too. And that's actually been a good bet so far. It hasn't been a bad bet. So we'll keep that bet on the table for the current moment, that I do suspect anywhere up to 6,500 is quite likely on the extension of the fifth wave. I had drawn this out yesterday too, while I was kind of playing around, just the potentiality that that you saw this is a one wave, and then this is a long wave 2, this is a wave 3. Here you have the meander. What happened here? Stupid shoot cannon. A long wave 3, and then the potential of a wave 4. So this is kind of what I'm looking at from an Elliott wave perspective. I mean, if you wanted to, you could even pull this Elliott wave back and call this whole abstract of wave 1. And wave 4 here is actually keeping the long meandering sideways that we often see. So this could be the extension of wave 5, again, of the B wave that we had potentials of. Now again, we had only thought the potential would bring us to 6 grand, but as we got closer, you start to readjust, and I think 6,500 is probably one of the next on the list, just again because of the irrational behavior in this market at large. So we're keeping a close eye on Bitcoin. Again, these trades are fantastic, and again, as you can see, this is the reason why we go on the Bitcoin in our trading portfolio. Our hodler portfolio, we don't touch. It sits in the assets like gold or silver. They're not meant to be traded. They're just there to be part of that diversified portfolio. It's how you keep a strong portfolio. Let's see. So I'm all in the green now for streaming. I guess I'll just stream at a lower quality from now on. I guess we won't even do live streams. Maybe I'm paying for this extra internet, which is kind of frustrating. The only reason I installed it and paid them the extra $500 was because I was hoping I'd be able to do live streams, but now that's not the case. So we'll see. We'll try it a few more times, but if we have difficulties with it, we'll just do only pre-recorded videos, because I'd rather the content and the quality come out smooth instead of broken data and aggregates, just so we can chant. I know it's a downside, but when you live in the middle of the jungle, hey, you do the best that you can. So again, for Bitcoin, you know, the irrational exuberance that we're seeing here up to 6,500. I definitely believe we're going to come down and test the $4,300 area again, and then from there we get to decide the possibility of those lower areas that we are looking at, you know, since I guess mid-November, which is around the 2720 mark and the 1200 mark. Again, as you can see here, we actually built a very large volume profile here, right at the 3000. So this is actually looking like a very nice support. It's the strongest support we have. I mean, aside from the $1,000 area, the $1,000 support up to actually a 1300 is quite strong. As you can see, the depth of these volume candles is quite large. So with Bitcoin here, again, I do suspect that we're going to come down. We'll test this $3,000 to $3,200 area. Whether or not we continue back up and retest the $6,000 area or continue down to the $1,300 area, well, that's what we get to find out in the next C and D waves, or E waves potentially. And that's the thing about technical analysis. We're just looking at the best balance of probabilities so that we never have too much risk on the table, and that way we're never sweating anything. Because like I said, as soon as you start to feel those emotions sweat or get too excited, that's generally when you want to be exiting or entering the markets. And I never really sweated around $3,000. I definitely was sweating thinking of it going to 1900. So I didn't feel that anger capitulation that I felt the markets deserved. I didn't feel it, but that's not to say other people didn't. So where you entered is definitely going to make a big difference in that market, obviously. So I'm going to dive in. I'm going to take a look at some of your questions. I'll take a really quick look at Litecoin and Ethereum. First off, I'll start off Litecoin against Bitcoin. So we have two big short signals for Litecoin come in. We saw our first one come in here at 15,000 Satoshis. We had a second one here on the, this is actually a new indicator we've created. It's called the Golden Eagle Crossing. Thanks to Jordan P., one of our admins, for helping us create that. I believe if you go into, you can find me at Arcane Bear on TradingView here, and you can download, you'll be able to download the indicators that we're creating. So this little red dot here and this green and the which is the crosses and the death crosses over here. This is all you can find on our new little Golden Eagle Crossing indicator. We'll make a few more like that. I think they're really nice and helpful. But anyways, the point of this is, there's a great suspect that will go down to around 10,000 Satoshis. And again, that might be off the back of Bitcoin going up to the $6,300 to $6,500 area. So you guys are saying the video is fuzzy. It's because I've had to lower the quality of the video. Again, it's kind of shitty. I'll try to put it back up to 1080p. But you know, I don't know why we're getting hit with such intermittent internet problems here. So I'll test it one more time. I know we're live. Oh yeah, look at it, just drops down. So I'm not, again, I'm sorry that the video isn't a little clearer. I won't do live streams like this anymore, except for on Sunday. I just wanted to try to get this out before our live stream with Tron Black today. So we'll kind of leave it at that. But I will finish taking a look at these, and I will answer some of your guys' questions. So here we have the cross. Litecoin actually has a nice, strong support right around the 10,000 Satoshi mark, but there's a big gap below where we are here. So if we break below 11,000 Satoshis, I definitely suspect will come down and bounce around 9,000. And again, this is charted against Bitcoin. The only way I really like to chart, I think charting against US dollars is kind of silly, because the US dollar is the only worthless thing that we'd be charting against, whereas Bitcoin is the only thing that has true value in this market. So why the hell would you, just because people are hallucinating, you don't want the hallucination to become the reality. So I don't often chart against US dollars, because that's just a bunch of people hallucinating something to be valuable when it's not. Anyways, it's my own conjecture. It's the reason why I bought Bitcoin. It's the reason why I've been in this market for so long. So from a trading point, it just makes a hell of a lot more sense conceptually. The only reason I look at Litecoin is because or against the US dollar, is because I do realize there are a lot of people that trade in that particular world, and even though I believe it's irrelevant, their hallucination is still valuable to me for some data. So looking at Litecoin in the US dollar, it will definitely come down to test 64, and it's very likely will come down to test 47, depending on what Bitcoin does. If Bitcoin's rally breaks and reverses, Litecoin's bull market movement to lead the trend, I think is going to come back down and could potentially test those lower areas that I had mentioned months ago. Again, one of the things about technical analysis is you're always looking for entries and exits. You're never going to catch the top at exact bottom or exact high. So you try to sell and you buy back in, right? If you just hodled Bitcoin all the way to $20,000 and then all the way down to $3,000, you're not really winning. You're still in the positive, right? Because we bought Bitcoin at $90, but if you sold at $20,000, and even if you rebought back in at $10,000, you've doubled your money, right? You've doubled your Bitcoin, even more importantly. Let's not say money, but you've doubled your Bitcoin at that particular point. So I think it's important that everyone learns how to enter and exit positions. The hodler position mentality is basically for those that are not active in trading. I would call that an investor mentality, which is basically just buy it and walk away for the next 10 years and you'll be happy. But if you're active and you're learning like I am, and if you're interested in this space, then the best thing to do is really get I guess like an aggregated data or aggregated control over your own portfolio. I think is one of the best ways to go. anyways, I can definitely see that the lagging video has been troublesome for us. Again, I won't do these live videos. It's going to ruin the quality, and this is probably going to look atrocious at 720p. So I apologize to all the Bear family. Hopefully the audio is clear enough to come through with my positions, my mentality. So we'll take a quick look at Ethereum here too. Ethereum versus Bitcoin is actually broken below. It's been on a short signal from our eagle crossing at 342,000 satoshis. I think that's what that says, 3.42 million. We'll check. And then we've actually broken down below the cloud here. Suspect is it's going to bring us down to 26,000 satoshis and maybe even test that lower area of the 2.4 million or 240,000. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 2.4 million satoshis. Sorry, I'm saying that wrong. And again, you have a cross on our moving averages here right now too on the daily for Ethereum. So it's not looking super positive. I assume Ethereum is going to come down and test that lower area. Now, if we look at it on US dollars, this is why it's deceiving in my particular books, is because Ethereum looks like it's going up, but it's not, because I don't care about the fucking US dollar. Don't give a shit, one shit about it. Well, I do actually. Okay, hold on, let's refrain that. I use the US dollar to buy things like gas and pay employees, so I understand that, but it's not an active part of me trying to grow my portfolio. I don't want more fiat in my fucking portfolio. But again, like I said, I chart this because I'm interested in what those people are thinking, even though I don't agree with their mass hallucination. That's what they're hallucinating. It has some validity to them, so I chart it. Anyways, and just to help better understand the emotional sentiments. So we've got a kind of an ascending triangle here forming, and again, we've got the massive area for support here was up at 220. And the dollar, on the dollar range here, we've got a big gap that will probably keep us below 180, 190. We weren't able to fill that, and there's a big hole here again. The big hole up to 220. You know, we've got decreasing volume since the beginning of 2019. Not looking super great for Ethereum at the moment. I do suspect the volume will decrease even more. And again, because I'm only charting Ethereum and Bitcoin, it doesn't look that healthy. It's, you know, if you had entered a position in December 2019 in Ethereum, you're right back to where you started. Whereas again, this is why a taking profit modality is important. In December 2015, if you rode it up to the top there's a 51% gain, right? And again, here from a lower bottom, another 24% gain. Whereas if you've bought in November or December, you're only up 6% versus Bitcoin's price. And again, I only want more Bitcoin. It is the financial instrument of this ecosystem, nothing else. So super important. I'll take a few of your guys' questions and then I'll dive offline. We'll go from there. Honky Tonker says if it goes above 7K, it'll probably not go back under 5K. I disagree with that. The over-exuberant irrationality of going up above 7 doesn't mean we won't go back down. In fact, we might go back down even sharper because you could have a bunch of big players that are just waiting to fucking liquidate and rebuy back in at a much cheaper price. Remember, every market that goes up comes back down. Now, when you're in just a full-on bull market, which I do not believe we have entered yet, and even if we go to 7K, that's not a confirmation of a bull market. We need to break out significantly higher than 7K to confirm a bull market, and that's not, I don't believe that's going to be the case. So, you know, there's always the question that when we were at $6,000 and we were telling everyone that the potential of $3,200 Bitcoin was right around the corner, everyone scoffed at us. Oh, they'll never be able to do that, mining powers and blah, 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 blah. So just remember, if you don't think it will go below 4K, that's actually a bet for the reason why it will, because your beliefs are bullshit. Everyone's beliefs are bullshit. That's the whole thing about a belief. It's not a fact. It's just something in your mind that you hold with more veracity than someone else. It doesn't mean anything. Anyways, keep that in mind. Okay, everyone's saying it's going a little smoother. Hodler mentality is for people in the USA who get hosed with taxes. Not necessarily the case either. again, you know, the hodler mentality. If you're a good trader, who cares? If you're a good trader and you have a good accountant, you realize that you can go live abroad, trade, and make a shit ton of money and pay way less taxes, because that's how the game works. Everyone's always complaining that Amazon's not paying any taxes. Well, they're fucking smarter than you are. That's not their problem. That's your fucking fault for being dumb and paying more taxes than you had to because you didn't go out of your way to find a good attorney or a good tax accountant. It's your fucking fault, not theirs. Follow the big boys, learn how to play the game, and pay less taxes by getting the fuck out of your country. Anyways, just my sentiment on that one. C3 says, can you take a look at Digibyte? Yeah, C3, huge fan. I'm really grateful for your support. You've been a long-time supporter. Man, I can't, you've, every step of the way, you've been a big supporter, C3, so we'll definitely look at DGB. And then Hodlerberry says, would you regret if it goes up without coming back down? No, I would never regret if it goes up without coming back down. The reason being is because I'm not, look, people that regret things like it going up or it going down don't have a large enough perspective in their life to take account of. The reason being is if you're regretting up or down in any sentiment, you're playing this game wrong, right? Like you need, the purpose here is to build a diversified portfolio so over your lifetime you can stay doing well, right? So for instance, for anyone that knows how to make $1 million, they also know how to fucking lose it. That's what you learn how to do. It's the people that learn how to make it and then lose less than that that actually do very successful, because they're always stacking 30 to 40, 50% here. They don't just sit on a chunk of their assets and watch it fail over the years. They actually move in and out of their portfolio. So again, you know, one of the big things here is if you are using words like regret for the markets going up or down, you're not really thinking long term here. Again, I have a fairly steady business model in the SEO space. For every dollar I put in, I can bring back 10, 30, 40 times the amount I put in. I mean, for any of you guys that don't like know some of the other stuff we work on, look at Empire Flippers, right? Just start to pay attention to the other games that are out there. Empire Flippers are commonly 40 to 50% returns on your investment if you know how to play the game. Let's take a look. Do they have any of their marketplace sells? Okay, here you go. The multiple, $74,000 in revenue a month, selling for $2.29 million. You can. I've built websites that have made $50,000 to $60,000 a month on average, okay? And that would cost maybe $1,000 to $2,000 a month to do so. So Bitcoin's not the only game in town. What people often forget is business is going to be one of your best ways to make a shit ton of money. So no, I don't really care if Bitcoin goes up and never comes back down. I'm going to just keep doing the same thing I've always been doing, which is growing my portfolio, trying to stay happy, working on personal development. You know, it's all about staying healthy, enjoying what you love. You know, I've been thinking about going to get back in surfing lately. I've been working in the greenhouse. Like, I don't give a shit whether Bitcoin goes up and flies to the moon or crashes right into the bottom. The purpose of this is to continually grow my assets of wealth, from charisma and patience to integrity, compassion, conscientiousness, to property, to hard physical real estate assets like gold and silver, to the tangible intangibles like Bitcoin and Litecoin, etc. My entire portfolio will continue to grow because I'm not caught up on it going any direction. I'm not married to it in any particular way. Long-winded answer, but no, I will not regret it because I'm just learn how to be a gangster. Are you a BTC maximalist? Not at all. I think blockchain in general will reform every system that we have. So although I do think Bitcoin has already won the money term, doesn't mean there's not room for other trillion-dollar businesses to come in here and play. Brados, can you explain how to read volume candles at the bottom for specific volume rather than just relative heights? I don't do for specific volume, although you can see that in the order book, and I don't usually trade off those indicators. Although there are other people that do that. It's not an indicator I'm passionate about. So if you're interested in learning more about those, I would suggest going to TradingView and learning more about volume. I don't use it on my swing trades unless I'm just watching for aggregated data over the direction of volume in a period of time, right? Like I showed with Ethereum, the volume has been declining aside from actually this massive sell. This is probably near the, look how much more sell volume there is here too. I mean, it's all sell on Ethereum, right? I mean, here, there's another way to do it too. I have the decision bar indicator. Let's see, it's called stock risk, future risk, pivots, bias bar. Yeah, it's the bias bar. See down in the bias bar here, look how much, it's almost all red in comparison. Very little green on this bias bar. It's the same fundamental that you're seeing. That you're just seeing the volume come in from a different angle essentially. So here you can see there's mostly sell side on Ethereum, but I don't trade daily volume. I trade aggregated data because I'm looking for swing trades usually. That's the best way to go. Sometimes I jump in for swing range day trades, like some of you guys have seen, but it's not my favorite way to go because it's a lot riskier. So we'll go from there. Damn, live streams are great. I give it a chance. Just understand location. Yeah, it's the thing, you know, living in the jungle, we always have downsides, and one of those downsides happens to be that it's hard to live stream. And I would love to be able to do it every day at a specific time with you guys, but because of the internet, it's just made it next to impossible. And I'm not going to sacrifice not living in the internet just to have faster internet. So, or living in the jungle. Thoughts on VET? No thoughts on VET. I could take a look at it, but all the alts are basically off of my watch list at the moment. Although we did see Flow with a nice big 50% gain in the last few days. That was pretty spectacular. I'll take a quick look at VET. Yeah, down near the bottom of the channel, nothing to suspect that I would be interested in it, and it's broken below our cloud and looks like it might break below the highest levels of support that it has. So VeChain's price looks like it's going to get thrown into the garbage one more time here. And again, the volume profile is still significantly lower. Yeah, I wouldn't touch VET here. I would wait to see a confirmation. I mean, you could see it go below 100 Satoshis pretty easily right now. Anyways, quick little thought on that. How about BCH? Okay, I'll take a look at BCH. And Hodler says, I'm asking to see determination by your side if it will go down. Almost feels like you're very much expecting it big time. Markets always go down, Hodler. Markets always go up, they always go down. You should always expect that. It's a very, very important one. Honky Tonk says, I'm going in all at BCH at the next dump. Okay, let's take a look at BCH because both of you guys asked. Great Cody John sends us $3 in super chat, says thank you, Tio. Hope to live like you one day. Great Cody, you probably already live a much better life than I do in some way, shape, or form. A big part of what I've been learning to do is appreciate the wealth that I already have, right? So maybe you've got a partner and a kid, right? Two things I would fucking love to have. I'd trade any amount of money for that. Right, so I think a big part of all of this stuff is learning how to appreciate the wealth you already have, and from doing that you generally acquire more wealth because people are much happier to meet you when you're super stoked about all the things that you have instead of pissed off about the things that you don't have. Anyways, short thought there. So we'll take a look at BCH, and then Hodlerberry says, do you look at microcap coins? Only if I believe in them fundamentally. So I trade smaller cap coins on fundamentals like Ravencoin, etc., or Flow. Not super liquid, but they're very, very important to go from there. So we'll take a look at BCH because a few of your guys has asked. You guys are saying don't impose your will on the market. Obviously, I agree with this. The market is bigger and smarter than you. I agree with that as well. It's aggregated between everybody and the bots. Greg says, I love your live streams. Thank you for the content. Everyone's saying thank you. Why is Ripple so bad? We'll leave that on the last question here. And then, are you a fan of The Wolf of Wall Street? Yeah, great movie. I love The Big Short too. Okay, so let's take a look at BCH, Bcash here. Versus, well, let's start on USD because I don't think I have Bcash versus Bitcoin right now. On Binance and Tether, it's hit its last all-time highs, although that is not the case. It's just the data for Binance. Let's take a look at BCH versus Bitcoin on Kraken, Coinbase. We'll look at it at Coinbase, I guess, versus BTC. Should give us a fair amount of data. All the way down to the bottom here. Are we still live streaming? Everything's green still. Awesome. Okay, so here we are for BCH. Again, I'm only going to chart against Bitcoin because that's what I'm trying to acquire more of. At the end of the day, I don't want more BCH, so what it's priced at in dollar terms is almost irrelevant and fairly useless to me at some point or another. So we're definitely going to test the moving average here, the 200 moving average on BCH. You know, there's a big gap there's a fair amount of support at the 4,500 area, but again, there's not. If you zoom out and give more of the volume profile, most of the support is down here around the 3,400 Satoshi area, and then again, if we give it a little more room into the data area here, you know, the biggest area of support is around 3,200 Satoshis. So it's very likely we could come back down to test the 32 to 3,400 Satoshi mark, maybe even lower to 2,300 Satoshis, although I wouldn't suspect that at the current moment. It really depends if we break this moving average, so you'd have to keep a closer eye on BCH to be able to tell what it's going to do. The fact that it's been the moving average is aimed down anyway, so it made sense that we're going to come down with it for the moment as well until we see a stronger cross of this moving average, which again we're actually about to close below, so not a bullish sign on the daily. If we were to roll in through the charts, we'd actually see probably more of that. Yeah, it's on a short position between the 4-hour and the daily, which is not a great sign. So I suspect that yeah, it will probably come down a little bit more. But again, you'd have to keep a close eye on this because of that moving average on the 1-day chart. Probably most important. But yeah, for BCH, it's been on a short signal through the cloud since 0500. We had the moving Madrid we were going to add in here as well. We've got another little indicator we're working on, which is basically an adaptation of the moving Madrid averages we call the bear claw. So I'm not sure if you guys know how to do this, but in the indicators you can go, and I think you can find Arcane Bear. Can you do that? No indicators. What about Golden Eagle? Oh, maybe it's only in my script. I'm not sure how to share my script. Yeah, there it is. The Golden Eagle crossing and the bear claw. I'll figure out how to find it so that you guys can download and use these ones too. We're gonna make it so they're always our purple and yellow colors. So for me, I love the Lakers colors. I've seen one of my best friends, he does blue and orange, great color scheme as well, sexy, like that. So just again, I think with TradingView, you know, aside from using indicators that are valuable to you, make it enticing for you to want to look at it and study it more, because that's what the color spectrum does for me. I'm more interested to look at it when it matches like my color scheme, right? Anyways, let's jump in, take a look at the last few more of your guys' questions and go from there. Great live stream, thank you, well said. Any opinions on Deep Brain, China's fundamentals? Never heard of Deep Brain, and I don't even know what that is. Deep Brain. Deep Brain is a neurological procedure, placement of a medical device. That's probably not what you guys are talking about, but that looks pretty interesting. Deep brain stimulation. Ooh, I know how to deeply stimulate my brain, and it doesn't involve any computer gear. I tell you that. Anyways, Steel with the Arcane Bear. We'll leave the sentiments right there. Thank you guys all for joining us. It's been a wonderful day. Like I said, I've been trying to update the so I look more professional. I'm gonna redo this all in bamboo. It'll be a few of the little things we finish up in the house here as part of the rainy season time of year that we get thrown into. I'm very, very grateful for that. It gives me a bit of time to do work outside when it's not blazing and hot, which is great, and more time to work in the garden. I think we're going to maybe spend 2 or 3 weeks out in Panama working with our legal counsel on some fun stuff as well, and that should give us faster internet. Again, thankful and so grateful for all of your support. Smash that thumbs up button if you're new to the channel, or if you're not new to the channel. Smash that thumbs up button. You can subscribe to our free newsletter by going to arcanebear.com, and we have all this fantastic information that comes out in our recorded notes, our newsletter. Apparently we've got deep dives, trading fundamentals, infographics that come out for all of our private Bear Den members. It's only $30 a month to sign up. We only have over around 300 members signed up currently. So if you go to arcanebear.com/club